When Michael Myers was 8 years old, he killed his sister. Was it because he was psychotic? No, it was because of the fucking Cult of the Thorn! Welcome everyone to the Nerd Rage Renegades. Tonight we're talking cults. How many of you out there talk cults? Nobody. We're talking it because we want to. Hell yeah.
There's people talking cults somewhere. I mean, it's not like nobody talks about cults.
The cults are talking about the cults, but we are talking about the cults tonight. Because what's scarier? Here's I was thinking about this today.
Cults are fucking scary, man, in real life and like the possibility in movies. Like if it's done right, they're pretty fucking terrifying.
It terrifies me. So here's the thought process. Usually you got like one guy who comes out and is like, I'm the Messiah, or I'm a prophet of the Messiah, or I'm the leader of an alien race because we're all aliens, and they end up getting followers. They end up getting people to follow their rhetoric.
Isn't that mind-blowing? Some of these guys, these cult leaders, these people are so charismatic, and you look at this, he looks like a dude that crawled out of a dumpster.
It does.
This guy's charismatic.
You got like two different versions. You've got either the long-haired Charles Manson look, or you've got like, he looks like my Uncle Bob. You know that type of guy.
It's one of those weird, like, multiple wife cults. You wonder, like, how did this guy? Why did 10 women marry this guy?
Yeah. So, we're gonna talk cults. We're gonna talk real life cults. We're gonna talk about movie cults, TV cults. We're gonna talk about cults just in general because it's so interesting this aspect. And when you start, cults have been around forever. Call them cults, secret societies, communes. I mean, they've been around forever. I mean, there's always been a secret society or something like that.
Well, there's also been like cult scares, like the Satanic Panic in the 80s. Everybody thought everybody was in a satanic cult. They wore a Motley Crue T-shirt.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a fine line between the reality and the urban legend of cults too.
So, and I was looking at it. So you started hearing a lot more about these things around like the 60s. You know, the summer of love, when people were living in communes and things like that. It was all free love.
The modern day.
The modern day.
What you think of as a modern day cult? Like, there's been cults for like since the beginning of time, but I mean, like,
yeah.
Like the snake cult in Conan.
Yeah. Crom, where are two snakes facing each other? Crom, where's the man who murdered my mother?
Oh, Conan the Musical's great. Anybody who hasn't seen Conan the Musical, go to YouTube and look it up. It's funny.
But as far as I've been alive, now this might be news to some of you younger folks who have never grown up with the age of cults. But I mean, we were hearing about cults at least once or twice a decade. I mean, the 80s we had cults, even in the 90s. A little bit trailing off, as far as like the massive cult thing in the last decade.
Far between. Like the stories you hear about, it's like few and far between. But like every once in a while, like some major crazy shit happens. Yeah. Like a whole cult will like kill themselves or.
Yeah, which would be like the People's Temple, cult, which was run by a guy named Jim Jones. A lot, and I really want to phrase this because it's so interesting to me. You hear today, you hear the term, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You drank the Kool-Aid. And what's really interesting to me is that phrase came out of Jim Jones's People Temple when 918 of Jim Jones's followers drank Kool-Aid laced with arsenic in a mass suicide. Think about that, Chief. 918 people.
Yeah, there were, for what I understand, there were some people survived it, right? There were some people that made it out of that, I thought. That's how many died, but there were more people there than just that.
Yeah.
That didn't do it.
Yeah, there was a lot that didn't drink the Kool-Aid, but from right here, 900 people in which 900 People's Temple members killed themselves. 900 killed themselves by drinking this Kool-Aid laced with arsenic.
Didn't some of the people like to stop some of the kids from doing it? Like,
yeah.
They came to their senses kind of there at the end and fuck this.
Yeah, but when people say you drank the Kool-Aid, I mean, it was Flavor Aid during that time frame. It was Flavor Aid. But people are saying you drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, that goes right back to this mass suicide in this cult, which is really interesting to me. That we, from the devastation of 900 lives lost, and now we get the term "you drank the Kool-Aid."
Well, yeah, I mean, devastating shit leaves an impact on society, I guess.
Now, Chief, you never wanted to join the Comet, right? You never wanted to go back to your home planet on the Comet.
Oh no, I'm still in contact with my home planet. We're all good.
The Heaven's Gate religious cult, and I'm not knocking religion in any way, shape, or form, but a lot of these cults you will find religious overtones. A lot of them have come together because of some religious edict that was put out by these cult leaders. The Heaven's Gate cult, I mean, these were the ones pretty big in the 90s. I remember a lot of news stations covering this in the 90s when they went in and found, God, how many people was it? It was 19.
Like a house. It was a house full. There was people in bunk beds. The show. Yeah. I remember seeing the footage on the news when it happened, and just people's feet, they covered themselves with blankets or something, and just their feet were sticking out, and they were showing all the bodies up on in their quarters or whatever laying there.
Yeah, 38 members, including their leader, Applewhite. Marshall Applewhite.
Oh, that guy was a crazy looking dude. You ever see a picture of that guy?
Yeah, I saw a picture of him. This dude claimed that we were all aliens, and that the Hale-Bopp, yeah. He claimed we were all aliens, and that the Hale-Bopp, there was going to be the spaceship that was following the Hale-Bopp comet to Earth, and was going to take us back to our home planet. So 39 members of the group killed themselves to rejoin the spacecraft because they had, whatever he preached to them, that they were going to go home. We're going home, Chief. We're going to go home.
I remember when it first happened, when they found it, it was all over the place, man. They showed, you see the bodies, you saw the videos of him talking. The guy's a real weird guy.
Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. It's when we were, now, of course, as Chief says multiple times on the show, he's a lot older than me. I don't think he is. I think, we're both around about 400, 500 years old. We're just inhabiting these vessels right now. But every so often, it seemed like every couple of years, you would just hear something new on the, they would break apart from the great news of water skiing squirrels to these cults.
Found a whole bunch of dead bodies.
Well, Tweaky sure did hit that ramp, and, he stuck the landing on that water ski, but let's go to 39 people dead in a commune, But we would hear about it every so often. We would hear about these cults, and it kind of makes me wonder, what would social media be like? What would social media have said about them?
I laugh about how weird it is, but it's people's families that get sucked into these things, and it's pretty devastating shit. I mainly laugh at the premise of I can't imagine being talked into this shit.
And
I can't imagine in a million years somebody saying, "Hey, wanna get on this comet with me and ride through the universe."
Well, and then,
hey man,
no. You would hear these people that would talk about living in these communes or living in these cult-like environments, and that the things that would go on, underage marriage, underage sexual activity, families selling off either
wild shit, man. It's horrifying.
There's celebrities that have come out and said their parents lived in a cult or a commune for years and they got out or yada yada yada.
Rose McGowan. She live in some
Yes, that's one of the big ones, and I love Rose McGowan. Rose McGowan says what she thinks, and I love her for that. I love that she'll say what she thinks. Two of the ones that are the big ones, other than the two that we talked about. One, which is happened when I was in school. Chief was, as he put it on a picture I showed on my personal Facebook when I was a kid. He was probably waking up in a farmhouse or something somewhere.
Not knowing exactly where I'm at.
Don't know. Is Waco, Texas, Branch Davidians with David Koresh.
Yeah, that's that's a guy. If you see certain pictures of that guy, you can kind of see how he might be charismatic enough to pull some some followers, but
yeah,
like I said, like guys like that Applewhite guy. How does that guy get somebody to like take him seriously at all?
I mean, David Koresh was a cult leader who, like we just said, he had multiple wives. Some of them were underage wives. Yeah, David Koresh was weird. Let's just put it that way.
Well, he claimed to be like Jesus, right? He claimed to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ or something.
Yeah.
And he was like the Messiah, and he had this big compound. Not to delve too far into conspiracy and all that, but there's some speculation that those people might have been lit up by the by the government. I don't know. I wasn't there.
No.
But yeah, that really weird, like Jesus cult, and they lived in a big wooden commune in Texas, and it burnt down and killed everybody.
Yeah,
supposedly they set fire to it themselves. There's reason to believe maybe they didn't. I don't know, but there is that theory.
I mean, it was a 50-day siege of this compound.
I remember that well too, actually, and I remember it. Yeah, they were out there a while trying to talk him out of there and shit.
From February of '93 till April of '93.
Do you have it pulled up there, like everything? Cause
yeah, I got it pulled up.
I didn't know if it had. I thought it had something to do with the fact with the kids. I thought it was something that, like a child welfare, something that they correlated to a reason to go in there.
So or
maybe weapons, guns, or something.
Yeah, it was. So the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, they had a search warrant relating to alleged sexual abuse charges and illegal weapon violations at the Waco compound,
which were probably going on.
Which were going on. I mean, it's
from the looks of things. It didn't look like a healthy environment.
It's known that David Koresh had wives that were as young as 12 years old. He called them his spiritual wives. So it was going on. So they attempted to breach the compound, but they were fired upon by the Branch Davidians. So it became this gigantic siege, this 50-day armed siege where nobody could get into. There was no foothold really going on, and then the building went up in flames.
I think there's more like cultish type activity going on than people even think. Like, 'cause to me, like some of these like little small town community like backwoods churches are kind of cultish too. I mean, it's like they're all over the place, like all through the middle of the country. There's like these weird little communities that are into these religions, and and not even in line with like mainstream religions, like mainstream Christianity or whatever. It's just like weird, like offshoots, and like some like the ones that dance around with rattlesnakes.
Yeah, now
and like that.
Yeah, I mean the most famous one, which actually will tie into the movies a little bit, is of course the Manson family, probably the most prolific of all the cults, communes, whatever you want to call them, because Charles Manson's a fucking crazy guy.
And it happened in California, and Manson. Yeah, and Manson was an interestingly fucked up, weird guy.
Who wrote songs with Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys.
And I thought